All right, so this is kind of what we got going on here. It's like sitting on the inside of your uh, self and noticing all of the different things that you've got going on in your life and how to kind of start seeing you as an atom of the earth body. This is what your ship kind of looks like. Each of us has this border, and we would like to expand on, you know, ourselves with our learning, but sometimes it's difficult if we have so many things going on, constantly having to turn to fine tune everything. The less we have, it seems, the more we have, because we have more time to express ourselves. So I created another simpler version. Look at me with just a few knobs and buttons. This is actually my arm right here, going up to fine tune something, but less arms. Actually, I don't really have this many. I don't think. I mean, I could have a bunch of them, but I don't really know because I've been practicing this light touching, gentle movements on the physical plane for a long time, and what that does is it puts us in a position to really allow things to be as they are. And if we show up to recognizing them as something new every day, i.e., everything is in a constant state of change, there's just no way around it. If we can train our brains to actually understand that particular concept, then it sort of aligns us each day with the freshness that's required to be in a constant state of learning. The other thing about this earth body is recognizing that everything we put in is what we're putting out. If you say, I can't do this or that, your brain is designed, your brain's capabilities are to master concepts. It's not to decide whether something's good or bad, and it's not to decide whether something is right or wrong, and it's not to it doesn't really understand any of that stuff. That comes from somewhere else, in my opinion anyways. It comes from mind, and the mind is, in my opinion, the big mind, directly connected to the body. So you can tell when something doesn't feel right because your body will resonate in a fashion that feels heavy or almost painful. What you got the music turned down for? Oh no, I would much rather have something going on over here. I sound, yeah, yeah. Thanks, I appreciate it. Dishwasher's going. We got people working and focusing. Anyway, so let's just say, well, we'll do this. This is your. No, you might not be. A parent, but if you have kids, there's this constant exchange of energy that's going in and out, in and out, in and out, and watching them grow alone should give you some clue about how everything else changes as well. It's not just these babies that are born on the planet and we get to see them for some brief moment in a tiny 18-year history where they go from shitting their pants to driving cars way too fast. But it's a constant state. They don't just stop at 18. This is something I also recognized in certain cultures, is that places on the earth that tend to their children in the sense that they're an ever-expanding being have a tendency to be very eager for learning and very, very excited about it because it doesn't end. There's an endlessness to it. And in other societies, it appears as though we stop learning. It's almost like we create this: when you're 17 you get to do this, when you're 18 you get to do this, when you're 25 your insurance goes down. But what's it saying is these are your mile markers, these are the things that are happening there, and this is what your life is going to look like when you're there. I, for one, couldn't do that. It didn't work. I felt constricted, and I was not a very happy camper. But anyway, so this was one of those things. Kids is one. Your job, if you got one, is another one. You're constantly exchanging cells with everyone that's in there. You're becoming your job wherever it is that you're working. The movies that you watch, your brain is creating in repetition the movies that you're watching in pictures in your mind. It transforms your whole physiology. The food that you eat, if you're constantly bringing in unkind thoughts while you're eating your food, that food will not be productive for you. You've kind of got to look at all of it from a thought process. You want your brain to be excited about all of its endeavors. So somehow the mind, the big mind, or God, or the voice, or the witness, again, whatever any of you so choose to call it, could probably use a little extra attention. And if it gets that extra attention, then it'll more than likely start producing a brain that will be able to retain different types of concepts and have you thinking differently. And in the beginning, it's kind of weird. You almost feel creeped out. I remember a couple of my first meditations. I mean, I kind of almost thought I was being possessed by something. And having grown up in a particular environment that disallowed that type of experience to the degree that it was considered cult-like behavior, cult in the field of psychopaths, not just, you know, the fun term cult. But that it was, I was going to burn in hell. Anyways, here's some more things in my mind, some things that I kind of felt for myself in certain times. My eye would be seeing different things, and I decided to start focusing on the brain outside of the body, stepping outside of my whole space, like really looking at all of it. This guy right here was kind of fun, seeing how I was interconnected with another human, even when we were not touching one another or in the presence of one another. There was all of this cosmic space that existed where we would have the same thoughts and we'd call at the same times. And it sounds simple when you do that. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we called at the same time. But when you get good at it, when you really start paying attention to everything the body does, it's totally different. And then sometimes in my mind, when people say words, it explodes. You know, when I say I feel words, what I mean to say is that there are vibrational patterns in the words. They cause certain parts of my body to kind of pulse. And when they're heavy, hard, angry words, I feel me atrophy. I feel me pull in and kind of, it's almost like it feels like the most untrue truth that you could possibly feel. I got this chickadee. Lifting the veil with the eye, the pupil in the eye, the student and teacher at the same time, just trying to kind of really take a better look at the universe as an organic space, one organic shared moving space. And this is me in the womb with a pencil in my hand. Look, I'm going to be an artist and a writer. And I can see the word "and" on my screen, but I can't see anything else. And the arm says, creation must evolve. Yes, there's boobies. I also recognize that every person I ever come in contact with throughout my entire life is part of my entire being, and each one of them creates a little pixel. My friend Nicole Parasida came into a space where we're all working together in, and she was talking about the sort of pixelated view. And though I have a tendency to see myself in a more spherical perspective to the degree that they're all able to axially pivot off of one another, when you're drawing on graph paper, it's kind of nice to be able to sort of pixelate it and say, you know, this is my mom, here's my dad, here's my brother, my sister said this to me the other day, this is what happened at work. All of these things sort of play into the whole thing. I also remember having this really intense vision, this sort of weird thing, shaky on the outside. I didn't know what it was, but the next time I got it, I couldn't get it out of my peripheral vision, and I grabbed it with my finger, and I was at a bonfire, and I pulled it, and this crazy prismatic sort of thing dropped into the fire. Yeah, I know what that sounds like, but I think the reason it sounds so odd is because potentially you haven't checked into some of this, you know, the Jains and the Zoroastrians and the Buddhists and the Taoists and the Catholics and the, you know, I mean, you name it. Any religion has truth in it. You have to look for the truth and avoid all of the dogma because it's not good. Another thing is faulty filters. I was researching protons and neutrons and electrons, and I started recognizing that if all filters are clear and understanding is good, then the people can totally share ideas, and they'll go through either side of the filters, no problem. But if one of the perspectives is not the same, one person's going to shoot right past that filter and go into the next space of understanding. But if this one doesn't change, it'll just bounce right off. And then down here with the faulty filter, you guys could be thinking the exact same thoughts, and because this filter happens to be open and clear because of all of the experiences and it allowed that to happen, it can make it through. But if there's a crack, or if there's a hole in the philosophy, or if there's not rigorous self-honesty, you'll bounce right back into the same place that you were. You never leave. There's no going back or forth. It's just a sitting still or an expanding into another space. And you're not even really sitting still. You actually keep moving like everything else. There's some trees. And what do they say to themselves? I do not know. And then all boxed up and ready to go. I'm sure everybody's seen this one, but for those of you who haven't, I remember feeling extremely boxed in, looking for true love, and drawing the picture, and now coming to the space of one and recognizing what that love really is. And it's intense. It's a lot. Once you practice it, it gets pretty wonderful. My daughter, when she was born, I remember seeing the halo of Christ. This was us getting ready to go check out the world with my plant and a cat that I no longer have, because I too believe that we should be object free to the most extensive in the most extensive way. Here's just another version of all those pieces. You know, don't do this, don't do that, we eat this, we go here, we do that, these are the people we hang out with, don't play here, don't play there, this is what we study, this is what we learn, this is the language we speak, this is, I mean, it's everywhere. And then we have to try and make sense of each other when we meet each other, and that's almost impossible. This is what a lie looks like. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one, but when you say it, when you have some control-oriented agenda, not a well-intentioned heart, but a control-oriented agenda, you will be spiraling out universes you can't control, and they'll come back to get you. There's just no way around it. I've watched that 1,000 times. Worry, people, it will destroy your body. Your body cannot handle it. The machine, it doesn't take it. Mystery, good stuff. Worry, troublesome. Got to be careful. A little bit of Carl Jung could help as well. This one just happened to be in developing his theories on the ancient systems of divination, and when I was reading it, I ended up drawing this picture of this woman, kind of reptilian-like, and there's a spot right here. That's actually her hand coming between her legs. You can't really see it, but there's sort of this galactic orgasmic thing going on there. Just scribbling and drawing and trying to make sense of everything. But, you know, people, this is sometimes what happens when we're trying to communicate. This, yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, tell me what it looks like. I'm like, I don't know. If we give the kids words, if we give people words, and typically that's something that'll open things up. And I like to draw mandalas because I like to draw mandalas. I'm not really gonna get into any more of that. We'll work on that another time. Kids, these are their pictures they drew of me. That's from K up here, and this one's from S down here. Yay! I love them. They're sweet. They're wonderful. Oh, this was pretty cool. I guess we could show that too. Universe all. Hey, hey! Let the spirit out, people. Let it not be the scary thing that you think it is. I used to research words. Every word that came in, I would look at it. This is coffee house, the cigarettes I was smoking at the time. I mean, you name it. It was coffee house, a place serving coffee and other refreshments, often provided informal entertainment. And then I underlined entertainment. And then I said entertainment, diversions or amusements for guests. I'm like, oh, diversions. Diversion. The diverting of attention deliberately. So then I underlined deliberately. Deliberate. Oh, deliberate. Think carefully. And then I underlined think. Think. Exercise of the mind, and then I did mind down here too, but positively with one's ideas. Positive, tending in a direction naturally. Mind, the seat of consciousness. Consciousness, the state of being aware, the totality of a person's thoughts and feelings. That started out with coffee house. We just have to follow the path all the way to consciousness every time, and know that there isn't anything else but light. It's all pretty much just light, people. Anyways, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a really wonderful day. I'm gonna close her down.